Hello, kit fans,
How
and
you
welcome
doing?
back to Talking Kit, the channel for football kit fanatics, made by football kit fanatics. I'm Double A. You may notice two people are missing. That's because they're not involved in the show tonight. They've got nothing to do with it. They've been sidelined, they're on the substitutes bench, and they've been replaced by our good friend Ryan from Northern Ireland Classic Shirt Co. Evening, pal. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How you keeping? All good?
I'm all good, mate. This has been a couple of months in the coming this show, so it's
Yeah.
nice to finally get it cracking.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, if you don't know, it's something brand new from Talking Kit. This is Get to Know. So this is where we sit down with some of your favorite or yet to be favorite football shirt sellers and collectors, and we just have some conversations and find out why they love football shirts, why it's the greatest hobby or obsession in the world. And yeah, just delve deep into the wonderful world that is football shirts. So it was an idea by you, Ryan. You came up with it, and we decided to
Yeah.
make a show out of it. So yeah, where did it come from for you?
Well, I was being on obviously the main sort of podcast that you guys do weekly. It was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. And I just sort of was trying to think of something else to do, not waltz in and expand it. Like I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? But just like a bit of fun, really, and another way to include people into it. Really, just another way to get to know people, get to know customers from a business point of view, but just get speaking to people really, about kits because there's never enough talking about that, So when I said to you about it, and you done what you done to make sure that it came to fruition, So here we are with two pretty good guests on as well. So I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, I massively agree, mate. I said during the week. I think it was on Instagram. Obviously, the channel started off just me, Sean, and James, just being three cousins who have a love for football kits, just getting together and mainly talking absolute nonsense. And I think the longer the channel's gone on, we did a Premier League preview show surrounded by kits for a little bit, the strip down, and then we've obviously doing full kit rankers, as well as the main pod. I think we've discovered that we like to hear those stories from people who love football kits probably just as much as we do. I mean, two that stand out for me was when we first had the Kitman on. We had Josh. If you've not seen that episode, go back on the channel and have a look. It's brilliant, and that's the reason why I was so desperate to get him on full kit rankers. And we also had from Never a Foul Daps, who's a big City fan, and his story of why he loves City, obviously being from down south, moving to Manchester and back down south, but being a massive City fan from early 90s, mid 90s sort of thing. And the story he has around kits is just another reason why I think, other than just spending a lot of money on football shirts, it's often around the stories and the tales that we live
Yeah,
within a lot of those shirts. And and I like the fact that we seem to be one of them channels that are giving them voices to people that don't necessarily want to start doing podcasts or start doing streams and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just happy it's another show that we get to showcase a lot of kits and a lot of people's stories. I'm again, like you, really looking forward to
yeah,
this
should be
series
a lot of
making.
fun. Absolutely. And as you say, like I mean, it's finding the backstories of just the shirt. Whether it's as you say, what Daps was saying about the city history to him.
Yeah,
And probably actually, or that it's funny because you're looking at some shirts and you're looking at history for maybe 40, 50 years
yeah,
for some of the
yeah,
shirts. The city how they've changed over the last 20 years. So I'm sure him going through all that as well and how that's changed with how kits have changed. Actually, it's kind of apt to thinking about City. The club's changed in such a way.
yeah.
As much as pain for us being United fans, obviously,
Big
but the
time.
shirts have changed so much as well. So that's a good example, actually. But a lot of people just like the aesthetic aspect of kits as well, don't they? Whether
Yeah,
it's design or how the badge is done, vapor kits, match ready kits, all the different things, long sleeve, short sleeve. So hearing about all them too is really interesting as well. Like,
yeah, most definitely. So we do aim for this show to be once a month. I think we're aiming for the last Sunday of each month. We're going to look to
yeah,
bring you this show. That could change, but obviously just look out for the socials, and we'll obviously let you know. So before we bring the guests on, if it is your first time talking kit, do make sure that you like the video, share it with your kit loving friends, and also subscribe to the channel. We are trying to build. We're steadily growing. Like I say, we're still close to reaching 200 subscribers. So if we could get over that as quick as possible, that would be great. And if you got any comments on tonight, if you got any questions you'd like to ask in the comments for our guests or myself or Ryan, don't hesitate to jump in the comments and we'll try our best to get them out and get the conversation flowing. So how it's going to work is obviously we have one seller and one collector. It's hard to say because a lot of sellers are collectors and a lot of collectors are sellers also. And I think this is the case for both the guests tonight. So we've kind of put them in a corner, but not boxing them in if they want to show off a shirt or two that they have or talk about selling, and that's absolutely fine. So what we'll do is we'll break it down, and I think I've got a little silly question to ask them, and then we'll take it one going another. But if they have something to say, they're free to. They don't have to stay quiet, as we want the conversation to be flowing. So we'll bring the guests in, and we'll start off with. So we'll get the seller in. No, his class is a seller, but I know he's got some shirts with him that he wants to show off. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got. He's got an amazing shirt on tonight. We'll speak about each of his shirts when we've got all the guests on. So we have got Tom, aka El Clàsico KIts. Good evening, sir. You okay?
Yeah, mate. I'm all right. You?
Yeah, mate. Like I said off air, absolutely buzzing for you to be here tonight and agreeing to want to be a part of the show. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, same. Properly looking forward to it. Obviously, sad to have it postponed because I was buzzing for it, but obviously it's postponed for a reason. And congratulations again for your daughter.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. She said she's really sorry that she had to postpone the first book, guys. So I think it was either that or that she'd had a poo and a nappy. One of the two. I don't know which one it was. But again, thanks for being able to hold off and join us when we've rearranged it, mate. Looking forward to speaking to you tonight about all things kits, most definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Can't wait.
So just delve into you a little bit before we bring our next guest on. So where can people find you, or just give a little bit of the background on how you got started in kits quickly?
So the main reason that I got started, I just used to kind of collect, really. I wasn't really involved on Twitter or anything like that. And it just got to the point where I had loads of like new shirts and I didn't wear like half of them. I wore like 2 or 3. So I just ended up selling them. And then I also started looking on eBay for older ones. And then I kind of realized that I could pick up a couple for cheaper, sell them on, and then use them to fund like the rarer shirts that I was after. So it's all really stemmed from that, like buying shirts to sell and then using that to fund my collection, which is now spiraled drastically out of control.
Brilliant. Well, we'll delve more deeper into that. That sounds interesting in a little bit. So we'll get our second guest on, the collector tonight. He goes by, he's called himself Cornish tonight, which I do like, but it's the CornishShirtCollector. Good evening, Cornish.
Good evening, guys. How are you all doing?
Very well.
Yeah, good, boss.
Yeah, good.
Very well, pal. Yeah. Looking forward to speaking to you about shirts tonight. Most definitely, mate. Thanks for joining us as well.
That's right, no worries. I'm buzzing to be here. It's not often you get asked to do these types of things, so it's good to get involved.
Oh, mate, anytime. I'm sure I can't. I was trying to think back before, like what shirt it was that I bought off you recently. But it's always them accounts that you interact with that. Personally, I always want to get on. The shows that we do, most definitely, because the interactions you have with people and you realize how great this community is. It's more reason to want to do shows with them, most definitely. So yeah, again, just thanks for wanting to be involved, really.
That's right, mate. No worries. I think the shirt was the PSG 4th kit, bright orange with Neymar on the back.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Just a brilliant kit, brilliant kit.
Yeah, love it, mate. Yeah, yeah, that's it. So I know it was a rush for you to get back from was it London, wasn't it, this evening? But
yeah, it was. Yeah, made it though.
Yeah, kind of worked out. But no, yeah, that's the guest tonight for tonight's show. So what I thought I would do is on our main podcast, we have these quick fire questions, dead simple. And it's just to get a little bit of a gauge into what you prefer in shirts and your sort of buying habits and stuff like that. So Ryan, you've not done it, so we'll do all three of you. So we can get to know you a little bit better. we'll start with you then, Ryan. So I just want the first answer that pops into your head on each of the 7 questions. So question 1, short or long sleeves?
Long sleeve all day. Love it.
Question 2, stadium or authentic shirt?
Authentic.
Authentic. Number 3, collar or no collar?
Color.
Number 4, sponsor, yes or no?
No.
Number 5, 1 to 11 or squad numbers?
Oh, that's a hard one, that. Squad numbers.
Squad numbers. Number 6, training shirts or training jackets?
Oh, shirts.
Yeah. And last but not least, online bargain or charity shop find?
Probably charity shop find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably because they're rarer these days, I would say.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
Great, some great answers there. We will go. Let's go with you, Tom, next. Yeah. So same questions, but just give us your answers. So number 1, short or long sleeves?
Long sleeve, 100%.
Number 2, stadium or authentic shirt?
Authentic.
Authentic. 3, collar or no collar?
Collar, definitely.
Collar. 4, sponsor, yes or no?
Yes.
5, 1 to 11 or squad numbers?
Squad numbers.
6, training shirts or training jackets?
Training jacket.
Oh, okay. And last but not least, online bargain or charity shop find?
Yeah, charity shop. I've never actually had one, so I'd definitely prefer that.
Okay, brilliant. And yeah, we'll finish off with you then, Cornish. Same questions. So number 1, short or long sleeves?
I think short. I like to wear them for short.
That makes me think you've got guns and you want to just get them out. That's the only reason people ask that or answer that, I think. Number 2, stadium or authentic shirt?
I have to go authentic.
Yeah. The reason why I asked that question just to cut in is obviously I think it was an article on Twitter. I can't remember who did it now, but it was regarding the Barcelona Champions League shirt from this season. And they were basically saying that the stadium version is actually better than the authentic. And I know some people seem to sometimes prefer the stadium, but most people do say authentic, obviously. Number 3, collar or no collar?
Or collar.
Collar. Sponsor, yes or no?
Yes, sponsor, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. 1 to 11 or squad numbers?
Squad numbers.
Squad numbers. Training shirts or training jackets?
I have more training jackets, so.
Okay. So training shirts then, yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, online bargain or charity shop find?
I've never had a charity shop find, so it's got to be an online bargain, unfortunately.
Okay, there we go. So yeah, there were the quick fire questions, just to loosen us up and just a little bit of fun. Okay, so we'll get into it. So obviously, I don't want to pick who should go first. I don't want to feel like I've got favourites or any favouritism going on. So what I will do, obviously, I've come up with a little question, and the nearest to the correct answer will go first, obviously. So the question is, so for the 2022 World Cup, that's obviously the end of this year, of the World Cup kit brands, so the manufacturers of the shirts, of the 29 teams that have obviously qualified so far, Nike are going to manufacture the most kits. So what I want you to all have a guess of is how many kits will they be manufacturing of the 29 teams? Yeah. Let's start with you, Tom. So out of 29, how many do you think Nike will be manufacturing? The nearest, obviously, will get it.
I'm going to say 15. I've really not got a clue, but I think that sounds about right, I think, probably.
Yeah. Okay. Cornish?
I'm going to go a little bit less, I think. I think I'm going to go 12.
12. Okay. So of the World Cup kits from 2022, of the 29, Nike will be manufacturing 12. Cornish got it The nose.
Jeez.
Well done. Congratulations. Did you know that already?
No idea. Anything
That
to
was
do with
quick
Qatar
typing in Google.
2022. I have no idea. Hang on a minute.
Yeah. So yeah, there we go. That's obviously I've got that from an article on Footy Headlines. So shout out to Footy Headlines, the Bible for most football kit fanatics, I think. Yeah. So they said of the 29, 12 kits will be manufactured by Nike. So that means, Cornish, that you will be going first. On us getting to know a bit more about you. Before we get into it, we've had a sort of comment. I think this is directed at you, Ryan. Evening Double 8 and Ryan. Such a nice guy. Could talk football for hours with him. Was last in Smithfield with my wee girl.
Oh, well, Tom. What about you?
Yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for checking us out, Tom, and giving us a watch. So yeah, let's get into it then. So we'll start off. So Cornish, can you remember the first shirt you ever owned?
I believe it was the Chelsea Centenary, the sort of 05-06 shirt. I think. I don't really remember anything else pre that because either one, I was too young, or two, just didn't particularly have an interest. So that sort of Chelsea gold accented Umbro Centenary shirt really is the first one I really remember owning. And it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. It was just one of those, I don't know, one of those kits that just sticks with you because it was the first time after we'd won the league in 50 years, and you know, it was 100 years since the club formation, and really just something that stuck out to me as a young kid, really.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I know, obviously, like I say, you're a Chelsea fan, so I imagine all the kits from around that period must stick in you. Like obviously, if I was to go back to United, obviously in the 90s, those Umbro kits are the ones that stick out for me just because of what they represent. So I imagine it's similar for you with all those Chelsea kits, especially the Jose era.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. And you know, I was actually talking to quite a few guys earlier today, to be honest, just saying how actually I really, really have a hatred these days for the 06 to 08 Adidas Chelsea shirt. It's just crappy material all over the place, and everything like it's just so poorly made as a first shirt from Adidas that really those later Umbro shirts, those sort of 03, 04 Fly Emirates blue Umbro, you know, they're just so much better than those early Adidas shirts, and that makes a big difference.
I think Adidas went through a really bad period in like the late 2000s where just everything they made was just really poor quality and just like the structure was just awful.
Yeah, they had the wasn't the Bayern kit around then as well, and I know they had the longer stripes then, which is something I miss with Adidas. But apart from that, because they always had the pattern around the collar, or I'm just looking at the home one now, Cornish, and I see what you mean about the collar and then the two lines coming off it.
Yeah,
yeah, I know what you mean. Like it's a grand shirt, but compared to the Umbro one before, I know what
and just like the quality of the material they used, whether it was just you had sort of that standardized polyester, but it also had sort of hull sections, almost netting on the sides, and I don't know, like the collar had really nice details saying like Chelsea FC and little lions and things like that, but when you actually wore it, first of all, the sizing was huge, so I'm usually a large, but I have to wear a medium. And it's that sort of tight. Was it Teamgeist era for Adidas as well? It's just, you know, sort of. I remember getting that shirt and just, it was awful. Like you couldn't do anything in the summer with it because it was too hot to wear it.
Yeah.
And then you put it through 2 washes, and you know your Samsung would start to peel, no matter how many times you bought the shirt. So I actually remember having sort of 3 versions of the shirt, one for the 06, 07, and then 2 in 07, 08, because it was just bad.
Yeah, they were definitely bad for that. I remember I've had a couple in recently of those, like the Germany ones from around that time with the name sets, and it was like the number where it was like 4 lines as it went round.
Yeah,
they are horrendous for peeling. Like you put it anywhere near water and it just comes straight off. It's ridiculous.
Yes, like it's sort of really thin, plasticky.
Yeah.
PL print on the back, or even the cup fonts, as you say, were just, oh god, they were awful.
Yeah, I don't think anyone looks back at the team guys fondly, and I'm really surprised that they brought it back out this season. Was it?
Yeah,
They brought
Oh,
it?
you should that too. Like,
It's,
That was
who
really
was
odd.
saying, like, what was the research coming back? Surely, no one was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, bring it back. Like, everyone was like, are they going to be the same quality? Please don't.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Like,
yeah. I have to
Can't
say,
imagine they sold much.
I have to say I'm a hypocrite because I did buy the Ajax one. But other than that, the thing that really confused me was the fact that they brought them back. Obviously, they did the big Adidas teams that they've got obviously under the umbrella. So United and Arsenal, but we're both with Nike back in that period.
Yeah.
And they brought back the Arsenal one in maroon, which was obviously the last season at Highbury, and then just a standard black and red United. It was really, I think, misjudged, and I think it's not just jumping on the bandwagon again in it a little trying to flog and fleece fans a little bit more.
It was weird though because I didn't actually see United pushing it that much at the time, so I don't really know if it had much from the clubs either.
They had it as a warm up kit, didn't they? A little bit at Old Trafford. I remember seeing them wearing it a couple of times, and I think some other teams actually wear theirs. I think Bayern maybe, or
Bayern would probably do it. I mean, they're like Adidas number one, really, aren't they? So, but
yeah,
I think that was it. Probably, yeah. I don't even know if Juve or Arsenal really bothered with them. Like,
no. So yeah, Cornish, we'll go back to you then. So that's obviously the first shirt you own. So do you know the number of shirts you currently have in your collection?
It's got to be somewhere between 80 and 90, I think. But I am trying to slim it down and not be such a hoarder. Just running out of room.
Tom, we can get you on this as well. So you're a collector as well. So what's your number at the minute?
I reckon probably about 50. I think because recently I've been trying to I went through a period because I was collecting the 98 Nike MLS shirts, like all of this template. And then I finished that and I was just kind of lost. So I was just kind of just picking up anything. I started getting long sleeves. And then recently I found a Tampa Bay Mutiny, the 96 MLS shirt. I found that one and I just thought to myself, well, I might as well try and start collecting all of those shirts. So I thought I'll just get rid of the majority of my other shirts except for United and England. And I'll just focus on that. So pretty much everything that's been coming in, I've been selling one or two shirts as well. So I've kind of been trimming down at the same time as bringing stuff in. I don't have that much room. Otherwise, I'd keep everything, to be honest.
Ryan, without obviously including the shop stock, what's yours saying?
It's funny, because I probably should have a lot more, but I only have a couple really, in the sense that I get them for a while and I love showing them on the shop socials. I got this, and I'll have a chat about it, and I keep it for a while. But I'm showing it, and then I'm getting collectors messaging, and they're like, "Oh, I wouldn't mind that." And I'm like, "Right, if I ever do decide to part with it or something, I'll say to you." And then they message you again, and a couple of times people will be like, "Well, I could give you X amount," and you're like, "Whoa, that's serious." You know what I mean? I really, and then you're like, "No, I'm not going to do it." And then because we've been saving for this, that, and the other, and you're moving house and you're having to get new furniture, this, that, and the other, and it's kind of like, I have to be an adult now and remember that I could pay for a sofa or part of my contribution with a sofa or something stupid with this shirt, so I can't really say no. So I end up selling it, and then I sort of sit and I know the questions are about regretting selling stuff, and I do sit after, for example, sitting on the new sofa, and I'm like, it's nice and all, but I don't know. That shirt, you know what I mean? I could be and still be, happy. So, but
it's a nice comfy sofa, but it's not a sweaty piece of polyester.
Yeah, it's 20 odd years old or 30 years old. So I'd probably have about 30 or something, I would say. But you'd think it would probably have, a lot more. But and certainly when I started the business, I didn't have suppliers, so I kind of had to use my stuff. To do it. So I did it pretty rapidly, so it's something along the lines of 20 to 30, I would say.
Yeah, I counted mine yesterday. I was sat at home and I said to you, Tom, then I was washing some shirts and stuff. So I did a count 65. I didn't think I had that many. I was really surprised. My girlfriend not too happy at that. just taking up a lot of space. But yeah, 65. I think he's like obviously quite a few Barcelona, and then obviously I started the T90 this year, so I've got a few of those. But I think there's maybe a handful that I definitely wouldn't sell in terms of the San Cantona from sort of 93, the Brazil Ronaldinho 94, the obviously R9 Ronaldinho shirt, and the Casima Antlers from 93 that I've got. But other than that, I think others are pretty much up for grabs. But yeah, it gets on top of you. I never thought I would have that many. It does get on top of you when you start having an account and you think, Jesus, I'm just hoarding now, to be fair. But yeah, back to you, Cornish. Was there a shirt when you look back that made you think, yeah, I want to start collecting now? This is something I'd like to do.
Good question. I'm not really sure. I mean, I always wanted sort of those Final Cup shirts. So, sort of the 2008 bright yellow FA Cup final shirt with patches and, Drogba on the back or something like that. But, I would say there was like one standout really. Maybe the 11-12 season where we had the stunning Adidas, again, rubbish quality, oversized shirts they did for the 11-12 season for Chelsea, and then maybe that sort of synonymous with Torres at the new camp, that Chelsea third shirt from the 11-12 season as well, with the sort of yellow blue banding across it. That's just that sort of sticks in my mind. Is really those sort of that trio from the 11-12 season really stick in my mind. That one day in match one specification, really, if I could, but God, that pricing difficult to find.
Yeah, I can imagine. Tom, we'll throw it to you as well. Yeah, was there a shirt that made you think I want to start doing this now as a sort of hobby?
I think yeah. So I think I probably picked up a couple shirts, obviously just as a fan kind of thing, and then I found, I think it was can't remember what year is it. I think it was a 1994 Netherlands shirt, like the Lotto one with the Rijkaard on the back, and I picked that up. And then after I got that, I just started. That was kind of the start of it, getting the odd shirt every now and again. So I think that was probably the one that, especially the love for older shirts, because I think before that I was just getting the new United shirt or whatever it was. I was just picking up shirts from sale rails. But I think when I got that one, that was the start of the 90s and earlier shirts, definitely.
Cool. Yeah, so obviously asking if there was a shirt that made you want to start collecting. Cornish, was there a moment when you actually realised, hold on, this is actually now an obsession or a hobby?
I suppose again, in terms of when did I actually think about, I'll have an innate number of Chelsea shirts or whatever it might be, or other team shirts, etc. I suppose that sort of Europa League sort of final of 12-13 that we were in after we won the CF following season with the gold striping, that sort of made me go, I've now got, the past 10 shirts or 15 shirts or whatever it is from the past 5 or 6 seasons. That's a good amount. And then really I had to leave it probably until, I don't know, maybe 2018 World Cup. And then sort of then I'd try and pick one up sort of birthday and Christmas. Both of them are sort of, my birthday's a couple of weeks or 3 weeks or whatever. So I'd have one at Christmas and then one at my birthday because it's sort of 6 months apart. And I'd look on CFS and all sorts of other websites just to try and find one that I could have as a present type of thing. Because I'd buy myself the Chelsea shirts anyway every single season. So yeah, I suppose it'd be sort of that 2018 World Cup. Really, when England went deep into the tournament, that I actually went, yes, this is when, I need more England shirts or I need more Chelsea shirts, etc.
Yeah. So if we talk about your sort of collection, going from your Twitter bio, it's mainly sort of Chelsea shirts. Is it Serie A as well you like to collect?
Yeah. So I've gone through my collecting phase is like a a merry-go-round. It honestly is, and you know, Adrian or Football Shirt Italia will tell you exactly the same thing. That I'm such a potato when it comes to collecting things. I can't, or I haven't been able to in the last sort of 6 months really stick to my goals really. And I've seen some nice shirts. I've just got boom, spend the money, and you know, sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not, and you end up buying it, and then 2 months later, just go, why the f did I buy that type of thing? And it's just, I don't know. So yeah, I now have a list. I now have a spreadsheet. I now have sort of a confined section to which I'm spending and that I'm looking at really. So. And my bio says it all: Chelsea match-worn shirts, Chelsea Stadium or authentic shirts, the replicas with name sets. Serie A 80s and 90s really as well.
No, cool.
Yeah, I definitely didn't notice that at one point because I think you were collecting. There was one template I think you got off me. I can't remember what it was, and I think you were collecting all of those at one point, and then
oh god, yeah, probably.
And then it was like a few weeks later, you were like, oh, I'm collecting all of these now. And I was like, oh, right.
So it could have been like those sort of Eastern European shirts.
Yeah.
So I tried to get sort of like Romania and DDR, etc. And like after going through all of that, trying to find, those sort of Eastern European shirts, they're just so pricey. And
well, so a lot of them just weren't. They were never like commercially available as well. And I think we spoke about the Yugoslavia shirt where it was just the South American one, and like you can't get them the same as how they actually were on the pitch. Like it's impossible because they just
the
never
colours
made
were
them.
just the colours were different. The replica has red. What is it? Red like lightning strikes, but they were white type of thing. So you just can't find half the shirts that they wore. Even the Romania was gorgeous, but the yellow was not what it should have been type of thing. And,
and it had I think it had the badge on when they didn't actually have the badge on the shirt.
Yes. Yeah.
And then there was the Yugoslavia one that I had where it was like, because you had one where it was like in the normal place for a badge, and then I had one where it was like in the centre.
Yeah,
just like
and they were both legit, weren't they? As well. That's the sort of South American Adidas, annoyance to an extent.
And Umbro as well. They had a lot of creative freedom in their shirts. That pink Northern Ireland one's a perfect example.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Oh god, yeah.
It's so ridiculous, like when I show people in the shop, when it first came out, and I think I got offered one, I was like, what the heck is that? Who's someone's had a bit of fun with that, and then I started seeing images of it pop up, and I was like, who, someone's spiked someone's drink or something and they've designed this, and I thought, sure, we'll make it for a laugh, next thing you know, it's out there, so.
That's the thing, you can understand like the slight design changes. Like I've got the 92-94 United home shirt because they made it in long sleeve in South America, and the only difference is the sharp is like it's painted on.
Yeah.
And the badge is like a flat felt and the Umbro's stitched. So that's like it's just differences in manufacturing, but it looks the same shirt. But then other shirts are just like that one is just, it never existed. It's just a completely different shirt.
Yeah.
No one here before the internet was like, in the early 90s was like, oh, did you get the pink one? You tell me it's like the way you walk to the Windsor ground, and that's where everyone goes, and everyone parades up to the stadium basically, and like you look at old photos, there was no pink anyway. There was no dude in a pink shirt, when everyone going, look at this guy, it was never happening. Like, so, but South America, someone was cruising about with it, it's mental.
Yeah, it's crazy what you can find in South America, isn't it? With the shirts. I mean, Tom, some of the stuff you get in, and sort of EH retro kits, and like lots of other people. It's just. Yeah, it's crazy, and sort of variations as well.
Yeah. Some of them I get in, and I'm like, I'm not sure why. Like, I agreed to get this because it's just like so different to what the actual shirt should be. I'm like, I'm never gonna get rid of this.
I've done that, Tom, exactly. So many times because so excited, like,
you
want to see that in person. You look at it in person, and it sinks in. as you're looking at it. Why did I, why did I do that? The seller just, got you like that, and basically, so.
Brilliant. So, Tom, if we ask you the same question then, so was there a moment talking on the collector side, was there a moment when you realised, yeah, I'm deep in this now. This is something I want to pursue and make a hobby?
It was probably when I was spending like 3 or 4 hours on eBay every night looking for shirts. Like, I think that was probably the time. Or when I think it probably got to the stage where I picked up a few United shirts from the 90s that I'd always thought, like, I'd always seen as a kid and been like, oh, I'll never be able to get hold of them. Like, they're probably so rare or so expensive, or whatever. And I managed to pick a couple up for decent prices.
Yeah.
I think by the time I probably built my United collection up a bit, I started realising that I've actually got a bit of a collection going on here.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, it was when I started a YouTube channel, I have to be honest. What about you, Ryan? When did you realise?
It's probably like, I sort of was just doing it probably after the Euros for Northern Ireland, to be fair, because it was when we got there.
Yeah.
And like, it just swallowed everyone up, you know.
Yeah.
The hype of it was just incredible. It was such a fun time, just crazy. And it was like when you go on holiday and no one gets a hangover because they're that happy, like 24/7. And there was so much fun going on. And then you were sort of like, right, I've worn the 2 or 3 Northern Ireland shirts that I've had. I need to get another one or something to wear because we're going to this, or we're going to this to once, and we're going to friends, or, you know, bar, whatever it is. So we started scooping up more and started sort of realising the gaps then and what I gathered during those crazy few weeks. So started lifting from there. But to be honest, it was probably, as much as I had the shop open and stuff, and I was doing it as a business part-time while working in the civil service and stuff, I don't think I quite realised I was going into full collection mode until I got the Rudy Voller 1988 away Germany shirt, because and I told me, but I spent more than I ever thought I would spend on a football shirt, you know. And I sort of did it, and then I came, and thankfully it was like, oh, I'm buzzing with this, you know. It's an amazing shirt, but it did sort of sit afterwards, like with the sort of stomach like churning, like, what have I done? You know what I mean? Like that's absolutely mental. You know, like that's because it was during the lockdown and stuff. I blame the lockdown because everyone went a bit crazy during it, and apparently I did for that brief half an hour that I got offered it and then said yes to it. So I think then I realised it was like shirts mean a lot more to me than I cared to admit at the time, you know, because I realised. But yeah, I think it was just a mixture of wanting to just fill the gaps with Northern Ireland stuff and then United stuff and then some Bangor shirts as well from hometown. But when I spent the fair amount of money on that shirt, I realised this has gone past any sort of realms of reality that I'm used to, you know what I mean? It's just
one of them feelings where, you know, after a bank holiday weekend, you look at your bank account and you're like, oh man, what have I done? What have I done?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, and I just, it was from someone that I get stock from, and that it came, and then I'd seen this and got a message and got it. So I had to wait then for a couple of weeks afterwards because I had to sort of sell what I was getting before I got a whole bunch of stuff sent again, because I was too scared to get it sent by just one shirt on its own. You know, like just tracked or whatever. Started freaking myself out that way. And, oh, it's never going to get to me unless I pay like proper big tracking for it. So I'll wait. But that just kept me freaking out until it actually arrived, because it was like, I've spent whatever I've spent on this. This is crazy. So
I get that panic 100%. With my Tampa Bay Mutiny, I had to, because of like import fees on eBay that it automatically charges you now. Mm-hmm. If I'd have bought it on there, I'd have been charged like 150 quid extra than what the shirt was. So I had to get it sent to a friend over in the US and then over to here. And the wait, like waiting for 2 bits of tracking, obviously tracking to him, then him being able to send it over. And it was like over a month, I think it took to get it. And it was when I literally picked it up from the delivery office and straight away I just ripped open the box and just sat there and looked at it for a bit.
Well, I'll give you, if you still mind, I'll give you a wee funny story on that, just because it kind of just happened over these last few weeks. The AIK shirt that come out there.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, like when people were going on to buy it, the website was crashing. It was freaking out, as it does because of the stupid demand. So I managed to get through to the checkout page for it. And then it come up the countries that it would deliver. And I didn't know anybody in the countries. It wouldn't deliver to Italy, where people I can send to don't actually know anyone enough that I could send them a shirt like that down south in Ireland. So but I was talking to other people trying to get it, and don't know if you know Sharon from
Oh, yeah.
Holland. She posts shirts
Yeah,
every day. I was chatting to her and I actually had said to her, look, I've managed to get through here. I know you can't get through. Do you want me to buy it and then to send it to you, and you just, we'll just pay and then sure you get it because I know you want it. But it wouldn't have been her size, and I think she wanted to wear, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
So it's very, very kindly, like super, super, super generous. She was like, just buy it and send it to me. Here's my address. I was like, legend, absolutely. So I was scrambling to get it through the checkout. And of course, I put the wrong email address in because I was panicking, typing. So it got processed, no confirmation email. And no thing about, and obviously it's not my address.
Yeah.
So it's not my name on it. So I can't send like a photo of my passport or something and whatever. Yeah. So I was like, what am I going to do here? So I've got the transaction history on my bank account and forwarded it to the club, but they're in Sweden. There's no guarantee they speak English. So I sent one in English, sent one in Swedish. Go through all the limbo. It eventually gets sent to Sharon in Holland. DHL then just didn't deliver it for some reason and sent it back to Sweden.
Oh man.
No idea why. They emailed when it was on its way back to Sweden and just went, oh yeah, sorry about that. The driver didn't deliver. Good luck. And that was it. So it gets sent back. I then have to speak to the club and explain that to them using Google Translate, which is probably all wrong. And then gets sent back to Sharon again at my expense again. And then it lands, and the day it lands with her, I'm on my way to Italy.
Oh man.
So I'm in Italy for the week. It's sitting with her, and she's very kindly kept it, obviously, as safe as houses for me, So it's just message actually as the podcast started there with the tracking that it's then on its way to me. So I'll have it this coming week. But like that shirt's done some crazy air miles. So, and the thing is, when it actually just sent me the photos, I didn't realize it's come up XL and says very small beside it, slim fit. So I don't even know if it's going to fit me after all that. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'll just have to wait and see.
It better be worth it. That's all we can say. It better be worth it.
Worth it just for the box, to be fair.
Yeah, the box is mint, isn't it? So I think I've got it and done a video and it looked pretty cool. Like I didn't look at the full video because I didn't want to spoil the surprise for myself, kind of thing. But I did see the box, and she said, "Tom, the box looks beautiful."
It looks, it's the bee's knees, mate. It's the dogs, definitely. Yeah. Cornish, we'll get back to you, mate. If you can pick one, your most prized shirt that you own, your favorite shirt in your collection.
Oh dear me. I'd say it's between two. Probably the match-worn Drogba from the Champions League win against Schalke, where he scored a couple, I think, where it was 5-1 win, or the match-worn John Terry at QPR from the 14-15 season, where he ends up captaining the side to the sort of, the last Jose title, where Fabregas scores in like the 89th minute at Loftus Road, and it's just pandemonium in Chelsea and QPR are deadly silent. So yeah, probably one of those two, to be honest. They're just I can't, like, you can't describe when you idolize four players: Lampard, Cech, Drogba, Terry, and then to have their shirts, they're like all as sentimental as the rest of them, really.
Have you tried them on?
Yes. Checks an XL. So that's a little bit drowning.
Yeah.
But sort of Terry's listed as a 9, which is between L and XL.
Yeah.
So that fits all right. And then Drogba's also the same, and then Lamps is an 8. So that's sort of a standardized large, really.
Yeah. Did he smell? That's always one thing I want to know about.
They're all thankfully washed, so they all came washed. I know there's quite a few guy on Twitter shirts in the Shire absolutely loves unwashed match shirts. I can't deal with it. Luckily I had the Havertz, and that wasn't that wasn't too bad. He only played 75 minutes or whatever, so it wasn't too bad. But and he doesn't exactly work hard, does he, Havertz? But
no, number 10, just that floating roll. You're not gonna,
so that wasn't too bad. But I know that there's some people who've had like a Mikel, and it just honks, or there's an Essien or whatever it might be. Some of the shirts that come in, they're just I can't deal with that.
My Bruno Alves Parma shirt came after a couple of weeks, and he must have just took it off, handed to him. So they put it in the and it was fresh. My sense of smell is near enough obsolete since a kid. it's not very good. But like I could smell it, and my wife was in our old house, it was like our house round in the kitchen. It was like a hallway in the living room. So I opened it, and she's like, a couple of meters away, like I'm round another room. So what the hell is that? Yeah, it's man wearing shirts.
The lovely sweaty 90s or sweaty polyester is just great, isn't it?
You couldn't wash it, like, in the sense that you could throw it in the washing machine. So it was a basin with warm water and like half a tub of vanish powder, just left it to get rid of the smell. Thankfully, it came out okay, like, but yeah, it was fresh, like, it was brutal.
Nice long 24-hour marinade in some vanish. Yeah.
It came from Italy, like, so it came slow post. It was 3 weeks. 3 weeks to reach me, like, so
man,
it should have been condemned, to be fair.
Yeah. I'd say in the modern game, it has to be the fullbacks is probably the worst shirts to get in it. They must be drenched and hum. Absolutely hum. Unless you're Luke Shaw, obviously, who jogs back. But
any of our fullbacks at the moment, mate, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
To be honest.
Well, we'll get one from you, Tom. Favorite shirt you own?
It's a tough question. It's probably between two, because I've probably got one for a United one and then non-United. So United-wise, it'd be this one.
Oh, look at that.
The Cup Winners' Cup shirt. It's one that, again, like I was saying before, when I was a kid, never thought I'd own, like, especially in as good a condition as it is. It's definitely the one shirt that like, if I needed to sell everything, that'd be the one that I'd never let go, 100%. And then otherwise, like I've mentioned it a couple of times already, it's this Tampa Bay Mutiny.
That's beautiful.
Match prepared long sleeve. Like I was talking to Doug from CFS and I sent it him and he was like wowed at the fact that I've managed to find a long sleeve of this. Like they had a match worn short sleeve on there recently and silly money. Like, and I didn't pay anywhere near, like, for what it went for, I got a really good deal on it. So I think, to be fair, I'd probably never sell either of those two because I just I'd never find another one of those Mutiny shirts again, ever. Like, even if I had all the money in the world and I was searching, there's probably like less than like 5 of them about. So I'd never get rid of that.
Yeah. No, that's two great shirts, mate. Two absolute bangers. Ryan, have you got one that's your favourite?
Yeah. I have a banger 1980 to 83 home shirt. It sits on display in the shop, actually. The fella, Michael Cockcroft, who works does his job, but he works at Windsor doing like the stadium tour and stuff, the history tours for Northern Ireland, and he fits these. So it's like a mannequin that looks like it's hanging, freely on the wall, essentially, with a plastic cabinet around it. So I've got the banger shirt in it. I found it. I actually think I got it off CFS, but it's 1980-83. It's never going to fit me, like, but it's just I love it. It's such a cool shirt. It's that heavy material. It's slight shine to it. It has there's home base. I don't know if you guys have home base over in England or whatever. I would imagine it's like B&Q sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it used to be called Texas Home Care, so that's the sponsor. So anyone that comes in a bit older than me is like, oh, remember it right away from a local area sort of thing, which is funny. But just the thick stitch number in the back as well looks so cool. It's such a cool shirt. So
those stitched numbers there's just something else. Like on these MLS ones, it's all stitched on, and it's so much nicer. Like it's just having that like extra quality that you don't see it anymore.
No. It's just there was a guy actually walked by the shop the other day whose brother was a goalkeeper around there, and he just walked in and took a photo of it, and then realized what he was doing, and then explained to me like, oh, sorry, I'm not just walking in and taking photos in the shop, you know what I mean? Like, and blah 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 blah. And I was like, all right, cool, yeah, no worries, and took it out and showed him it and stuff, So, but I think that would be the one I wouldn't part with, because I know one of the questions later, but like I've parted with stuff before and been like, wow, what?
Yeah.
That one's staying definitively. Like it's going nowhere,
Yeah. Never find another one of them as well.
No, definitely not. No, I don't think so. Like, I'd love to, but I really can't see it happening. Like, I don't even think the club would have something like that.
might have him chasing you down now for that.
Yeah, possibly.
Going in the shop, taking pictures of it. Yeah, quickly for me, it's not really about me, but obviously the 92-93 away shirt United, I got signed by Cantona, obviously, after meeting him at Soccer Aid. So that's obviously high up there. The funny story about, obviously, I had a picture with him, selfie, but it was all blurry because he was trying to get through the crowd. And I was absolutely wounded. I'm my favourite player of all time. And then luckily realised it was a live photo. So I managed to screenshot the live photo so it's unblurred. It saved me bacon. So that's one. And obviously the 94 Brazil shirt with Ronaldinho, which obviously was R9, because he couldn't be called Ronaldo in that squad. So yeah, they're the two for me, hands down. Back to you then, Cornish. Have you ever had, or do you have a shirt that you loved when you first bought, but then as time's gone on, you thought, actually, I'm not so keen on
Yeah,
this?
I mean, there's got to be loads, isn't there? Because the amount that I buy and sell and pleb about with things. You know, to be fair, probably the most recent set of PSGs. You know, sort of last 3-4 years. They look stunning in photos and they look amazing in vapor knit and whatever you want. I get them in person. I go, oh, I have no connection to the club. You know, like I look at them and think, you know, I absolutely love them. They're beautiful pieces of kit. Their designs are great, and I just get them and I go, I have zero connection. You know, like it. You know, it's slightly different getting a sort of Messi, Suarez, Neymar from Barcelona because that trio for me were the best at the time, the best I'd ever seen, type of thing. So you know, when I had that sort of phase of Messi collection, that was great because I could relate to the moments that I grew up watching. And you know, the French league football was just not on my radar, so I'd pick up these PSG kits and go, oh, this one's lovely. I think it's like the 1920 away with like the red and blue stripe down the one side, and I had sort of Mbappe on the back, and I loved it, but I just didn't want to wear it. You know, I didn't really have that connection, and you know, I'm sort of realizing now as I sort of wander through that shirts have to have a connection or a story for me.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not gonna, you know, I had sort of 20 or 30 Messi shirts, and it was great to have, but at the same time, they didn't really have a connection to me apart from the world's greatest player. You know, for me, there's no one better, but it wasn't a good enough reason to keep on collecting, especially at the prices that they were going to. You know, I could buy a shirt at 40 quid with Messi sort of 6 months ago. Now you're looking at 100, 120 or whatever it might be. So it's it's tricky.
Yeah, I can imagine so. Yeah, Tom, we'll get you quickly. Yeah, any shirt you've bought and you loved it, was excited to get, and then over time you kind of like, actually, it's not really for me.
Yeah, it's one I've sold now, actually. The United 98-99, I think it was, the away, the white one.
Yeah.
With like
yeah.
And I had Beckham on the back of it. Absolutely loved it when I first got it, but I just never wore it because of the collar. You know how it like curls up at the end? I just hated that. And there's no way to stop it. And I just thought, I'm just never going to wear this. So I just got rid of it. Like, loved it at first, but come the end of it, I was just glad to see the back of it.
I got a funny story about that shirt. I got that for Christmas during that season with Ryan Giggs and number 11 on the back. It was too small, so my sister had to have it, which was the second time I've been bought a Ryan Giggs shirt and it being too small and my sister having to have it. So I will never own a Ryan Giggs shirt because it just seems like it's just not meant to be. Because every time I get one, it's too small. So, yeah. And yeah, you, Ryan, have you ever had a shirt that you loved and then over time?
It's funny you mentioned that one, Tom, because wasn't it, if I'm right in saying, the black with the Illuminous was the third?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. It was like a trading one as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it was a bit like what you said, Cornish, about the PSG ones. Look great in the photos. Then I got it. And it's hard to pinpoint, but there's just something about it I just couldn't really like. Because that time for United obviously was fantastic. So it should just be like, this is amazing. You know, I've got something from then, brings back the memories. But there's nothing under that shirt that really stands out game wise. you know,
Yeah.
results wise, whatever. And then just when I got it, it kind of had like a weird sort of shine to it or something. There was just something about it. I just couldn't quite like it. When you get them in the sale, and obviously from a business point of view, that's grand, and that's why someone else loves it. And I hope when they actually get it, they don't feel the way I felt about it, sort of thing. And keep it, you know. So, but I couldn't warm to it. You know, it was just one that was, it didn't really work for me, unfortunately.
Fair enough. Moving on. Next question then, Cornish. So, is there any shirt you can think of that you've missed out on, whether that be eBay or, you know, like a general sale? Anything that stands out? You think I wish I'd have got that.
I mean, I got reached out to not long ago, and to be fair, I still talk to him an awful lot and still get lots of things from him. But I got reached out by essentially a contact who can get Chelsea matchworn shirts, right? And it's brilliant. But he had, you know, all sorts of Lampard, Terry, Drogba, like massive players, and he had a Torres one from the 11-12 season. Premier League print, wasn't necessarily sort of you know, special in terms of Champions League, but for me, when Torres signed in that sort of January 2011 or whatever, for me that was like the biggest signing in the world at the time. There was nobody in terms of a striker who was better than Torres, realistically, unless you're talking Messi or Ronaldo. So when we signed him, I was so excited, and he had that. You know, he had an 11-12 PL print match worn Fernando Torres, and he had it for about 2 or 3 days before I ended up going to the Asian market for essentially triple what I had offered. And it's, you know, it's not uncommon where that happens. You know, I've had offers on the Havertz when I had that for sort of 250% of what I paid. Jeez. You know, like from the Asian markets. And it's, you know, some of the money is absolutely crazy. You know, the Havertz shirt, someone offered $2,500, and it's well, you know, partly the provenance is so good. You know, there was a video attached to the player handing it over, so you just don't get that.
Yeah.
So you know, and you have to weigh up whether it's for you or not. And you know, for me, the shirt meant more than just money. So I couldn't care how much someone was going to offer me. I'm going to keep it. You know, I'm not financially stricken where I don't need to sell it. But you know, it's sort of those shirts that you miss out on. For me, it was that Torres, because he just meant, at the time, it meant so much. When he scored at the Nou Camp, I can just remember the feeling and the sort of, you know, that sort of running around the house type of thing that was going on, because we had it in the front room and the TV, and just, you know, that whole sort of roller coaster season, to then have a Torres shirt from that season, from a game post January when Di Matteo was in, it was top notch. But yeah, I suppose that's the one I've missed out on that I really want.
That's it's interesting. That I remember that transfer, and it seemed like it obviously come out of pretty much nowhere, didn't it? And everyone was absolutely bewildered that he was going to Chelsea for that amount of money and stuff like that. But I always remember him for that open net at Old Trafford.
Yeah,
I know.
Oh my days! Yeah. Still watch that today. It's beautiful.
I watched that, you know, because it was just, no.
Yeah. There's no way. There was no way he's missing. You still watch that now and go, he scores this, doesn't he? There's no way he misses, and he does. It's it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Tom, Tom, quickly. Same to you, mate. Shirt you've missed out on. You're really gutted.
Yes, there's been a couple. Actually, shirts that I ended up picking up later on, but one of them was England 1993, obviously the blue shirt, probably like the most iconic England shirt there is. And I just remember I was just playing Xbox with my mate one day, and I was just like flicking through eBay, reloading, buy it now, like newly listed. And then all of a sudden, like I look down and there's one of them that's just come on for 20 quid.
Jeez.
In my size. And I'm like, no way. So I go on, click on it. get on to like check out. Said this item is sold out, and I was just gutted.
Oh mate,
just absolutely gutted. Like I said, I ended up getting one eventually for a not horrendous price, but 20 quid for that is insane. And then the other one was when I was collecting these MLS shirts, there was a Kobe Jones match worn LA Galaxy shirt, and I don't think it was long sleeve. I think it was short sleeve, but it was just absolutely stunning. And the thing is, I didn't see it like right at the end of its bid. It was like in the middle of it. I don't know why I didn't go for it, but for whatever reason, I just decided against it. And I have genuinely no idea why, because I would kill for that shirt. I'd love it.
Yeah, that sounds that England one. That's hard. That
I think I just had my head in my hands for like 20 minutes afterwards.
You have to be really quick with those fingers when something like that pops up.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Ryan, with you, anything you've missed out on that you thought?
I'm just actually looking through a chat here because it's the same sort of place I got that West Germany shirt, and it came shortly after, and it was a Baggio Fiorentina. But because of what it spent with the West Germany one, I was still like, flip, I can't be doing that on a regular basis type thing. It was still the lockdown. You just didn't know how everything was going to go. So, but I got like a message and said if something like that ever pops up, let me know. And it was for relatively similar money. And as I say, when I got the West Germany one, I couldn't justify it in my head. And then when I did justify it in my head, like a couple of hours later, it was gone. But and again, it would have been one I would never been able to wear, especially Baggio then. Like, he was so slim, and he was so dainty a player type thing. But it was just such a beautiful shirt. So it was one of his. But to miss it was pretty gutting, to be fair, because I just love his story. I love his character. I love how determined the guy was, and so singular in his thinking sometimes, and yet he was such a good team player, and he was such a good player in himself, but just his ideology was so singular to him, and the clubs just had to go with it, really, as much as Fiorentina did help him and stuff. But that's why he left to go to Juve in one sense, because he was wanting to get the trophies but also not wanting to go, and all his story, it was just, the whole thing is fascinating me. So if I hadn't got the West Germany one, I'd have probably just went, yes, boom, done. I'll get it and have my freak out after or whatever, But so to miss it was pretty gutting, to be fair. But I'd done okay, a couple of weeks before, so it wasn't too bad, I think. But if one does pop up again, like, common sense is out the window. Like, it's happening, I'm just going to grab one and worry about it afterwards, So
definitely. I popped up before, but yeah, big shout out to Josh, the Kits Mooney, saying good show, my guys. The Grand Sultan and the biggest diva in the kit world, as we all know that he is. He'll love me saying that. He'll absolutely love me saying that, no doubt. See him on Wednesday for another Full Kit Rankers, which he does with us every week, which is great. We'll move on. So, Cornish, this might be a bit of a hard question. I think I know maybe four of the answers that you're going to give. So if you had to do a best five-a-side team from shirts with name sets that you own, could you do one?
Yes. I'd probably have Czech in goal.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad start, I suppose.
Not at all, no.
I think I'd have John Terry at the back.
Yeah.
I'd then probably have sort of Frank Lampard, and I've got a match ball Pedro that I'd probably have as well. Just loved Pedro.
Chelsea, is that Chelsea as well?
Yes, yeah, Chelsea versus Huddersfield on the first day of the 18-19 season.
Nice.
And then Drogba and it would just have to be Drogba, I think, or Sammy Eto'o. I've got Sammy Eto'o, so one of those two. I mean, if we're talking prime, I'd probably have prime sort of 09-10 into Milan Eto'o, but you can't really discount Drogba either, can you?
Not really, no.
No, definitely not.
Well, that's a decent team, mate. Very, very good team. Tom, same question for you then, mate, if you pick one.
Yeah, so I actually don't think I've ever had that many goalkeeper shirts in. So I think I've got an Oliver Kahn one. So it'd probably have to be him, which still not bad. But
It's not bad at all, no.
Then probably Maldini at the back, I think, and then it'd have to be, I think, probably go pretty attacking. Rooney, Ronaldo, and Cantona.
Oh, mate, I mean that's a good team. I'm gonna have to side with Tom there, Cornish. I'm sorry, mate, but just for that,
United bias.
I feel like Rooney would probably be the ultimate five-a-side player as well, just because work rate and just like proper street footballer.
Do you remember that advert for United where he went back in nets? I think he kicked him hard on nets or whatever. It must have been on that advert.
Oh, yeah.
He kicked him on the nets, and then he ran up the goal and scored a goal. And when he tried to run back, someone pinged it and just put it in the top corner, and he missed it when he run back to 2 nets. Fergie's, obviously it's all set up but to play it well, because Fergie's like, oh, boy, it's going to be the death of me, So.
Nearly was a couple of times, to be fair. Yeah. And yeah, the same question to you then, Ryan. So if you had to pick a five-a-side team of the best, names.
I'm just thinking again of shirts that I've had in sort of thing, I suppose. And I'm lucky in that sense because I've had quite a lot over the years, which is kind of mental in itself, I suppose. Yeah. I'll leave like United players, so there's no bias said to me now. But probably actually, I suppose I can't pick him because you've had him, but I would have said Cam, but I'll go. I've had a Julio Cesar's one, to be fair. Nice. Which is pretty cool. I always liked him, just with the short sleeve and stuff. And could have picked Buffon as well, to be fair, but I don't know. It's just Julio Cesar was just something about him. Defense wise, then probably go. If it's five-a-side, like, I kind of go with the crazy player sense. We'll maybe throw like Materazzi at the back, just because if he beats you. If you're playing and he's behind you, you don't have to worry because he'll just assault them.
Just have to make sure none of the other mothers or sisters are around of the other players, so they're not getting.
True. Yeah, I know. So, and then probably in midfield, I would go. Let me just see. Who could I go for in midfield? Probably go for. Actually, I have one that I'm going to keep. I have a Cambiasso shirt that's come in. So I didn't even realize I've got an interbias here. I didn't even mean for that. But a Cambiasso one as well, just so, which I'm going to keep. But it's a Madrid one, to be fair. I'm going to keep that for five-a-side. And then probably up front, I would go. Sure, I'll just stick to Italian. I'll go at a Shevchenko one in. And I'll show it during the week. Like, I'm proper excited to see what people think about it. It's a really, really cool shirt. And then to support them, I suppose I mentioned before, go for Baggio, because again, if you misplay a pass or whatever, it's in a tight angle, he'll still figure his way out of it. You know what I mean? And still do something magical to either set up someone or score a goal himself. So
I was close to putting Baggio in as well, to be fair.
Just on a tight pitch, he just do something. And to be fair, the players you picked aren't short of that either. Like, that's just nothing that he would do. He would be the perfect five-a-side player, I suppose.
Then three great teams there. So what I'd like is people in the comments, if you're watching, whose team do you think would come out on top in a five-a-side? Ryan's heavily Italy influenced. Tom's more Manchester United, and obviously Cornish and his Chelsea lineup. I'd like to know who you think would win that. I don't even want to pick, obviously, because I don't want to annoy any of you, but mostly it's a tough call.
I think my team would lose because if there was red cards, that would be that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're all, probably apart from Shevchenko, they're all known for getting reds. So.
Yeah, it's true. The last question for you, Cornish, and obviously it'll come around to all of you. So it's that age-old question. I have to ask it because it gets asked of pretty much every shirt collector. So if your house was on fire and you had to pick one shirt, I know you said you had two favorites, but I'm going to push you to pick one. If you had to pick one shirt to save, which shirt would it be?
Probably one that I've not seen in a long time, and to be honest, I might say the match one's my favourites, and they are. But there's one kit that stands out to me that always has done it. It's the AC Milan 83-84 shirt.
Wow.
I've got quite a few from that season now, actually, 83-84, and I thought I'd go on a crusade of trying to find all of them, and it is probably a long-term goal, but that AC Milan 83-84 shirt is just stunning. The slightly smaller stripes. The number of stripes is perfect. That painted sort of sponsor,
Yeah.
the simple 1 star, it just fit everything I'm looking for, and it's NRA as well. So I can't complain at all.
No,
I think that's the one I'd run and find as quickly as I can.
One thing that I always think about with Italian kits, and I'm interested to get your opinions. They look back on so fondly. Do you think they are the greatest league for kits in the world? You know, people look back on them so fondly. Like the Inter kit you've got on there, Ryan. You know, you talk about the Baggio, you talk about Fiorentina shirts. Everyone's after. So even Lazio, Inter, Juve. Yeah, I'm interested to know what you guys
twofold, isn't it? Because as a historian myself, I look back at it and think it's not only is it what we had access to in the 90s. You couldn't go and watch on your TV your Premier Leagues or your championships or whatever it might be, the old divisions, but you had on Sunday Italian football. Gazza's over there, David Platt's over there, etc., etc. So so those sort of big time English players, English managers were over there in the 80s and the 90s. The 80s you have Mark Hughes, Mark Haitley, and a few others are in and around that area as well. Ray Wilkins in the 70s and 80s. Sort of these big English players were over there, so it brought spotlight and attention, and therefore people will associate memory and myth and nostalgia with that sort of 80s, 90s Italy. They're great kits, but are they the best? I think very much it's a question about what is nostalgic to you, and that concept of mythology. Totti in the 90s is a myth to most people, but for those and seeing those memories, that's what they associate the kits with. Batistuta at Fiorentina or Baggio the early 90s at Juve or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
People associate nostalgia and memory and myth with those kits and those players. And I think that's why people like it, because lots of people in the atmosphere or the sphere that we're in are sort of their 20s or 30s or, or moving towards their 40s. They get it. They understand. They remember these things, talking to others, Mark, the Man City match worn collector, or the Dons Paul Malky, they're very much sort of that 70s, 80s era, and they don't really associate as much with sort of 90s Italy or 80s Italy because of the era they were brought up in, the kits they love and the club, etc., etc. So personally, I think it's nostalgia, myth, and memory, but I'd be interested to know what Tom and Ryan suggest as well.
I never really. I mean, I was born in '98, so I don't really have any. I don't have any memory of the '90s at all. But to me, I do think that purely design-wise, Serie A kits from the '90s were a lot better than anything else out there. I think anyway. Especially like consistency-wise, I just think pretty much every shirt from the '90s in Serie A was just insane, and there was so much variation as well. Like there was just nothing that looked like similar to each other across the league.
Templates weren't really a thing then as much. Like
exactly. Like
that was it.
Like in the MLS, there was 3 different clubs that were wearing this same template, whereas in Serie A you didn't have that. It was different for everyone, and the designs were just. There was some that were like really crazy designs on the shirts, and then there were others that are just like basic, simple, but just classic designs.
Yeah, I think the only one that rivals it for me, but the 90s Umbro stuff for Serie A was amazing. Like obviously I'm wearing something like that, but and to be fair, for the Premier League it was good. And then the early sort of 90s for SPL, some of the Celtic, Rangers, all the teams really then, Hearts, Dart, Dundee, they all have at least 1 or 2 absolute banging shirts. The top ones probably get the better treatment, unfortunately, for the other ones, but I suppose it depends on the fans when you ask, but everyone recognises the early 90s and late 80s SPL stuff. Everyone knows it, even if they didn't get watching it. But I think outside Italy in the 80s and early 90s, the only ones I think can rival them for me, apart from some of the Bundesliga stuff's really nice, Dortmund stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
And like we have Bayern, Dortmund, and then the other teams, even like Hamburg and stuff, some of their stuff is so nice, but you don't necessarily see it just as often, I guess, outside of the top 2 or 3. Some of the French stuff though in the 80s, like the PSG shirts in the 80s, the
RTL
shirts as well, the Adium one,
Yeah.
the FC Nantes one as well, like Bob Marley wearing it, obviously, like that's
yeah.
they're almost like a mythical sort of thing, because the Monaco ones pop up, like I've had a couple recently, but I haven't had any of these PSG because it's just no one's parting with them. You know, like the RTL and the 2 stripes, similar to this, I guess. The stripes
I got that one in like a month or so ago, and it was just like I got sent a picture of it and I thought straight away, I've got to get that in. I've got to.
Yeah, of course.
And it got it, and it was just in like the craziest condition you could imagine. Like it was just perfect, like nothing wrong with it. It's like, how is the shirt that old, like kept in that condition so well, and just the quality of it. Like,
it must be someone like Malky, for example. Like everyone knows Don's Pool on Twitter. Like his collection is just seriously good.
yeah.
And I've swapped a couple of shirts with him and stuff and speak to him, and such a gentleman, such a nice guy, you know. But I joked with him saying, like, you have to do an exhibition for this. Like, it's almost a disservice not to. And he's like, I don't know if it could be arsed, you know, because he has his own enjoyment out of them. So, you joke with him about, like, he doesn't worry about having professionally taken photos or anything, or even just, like, hanging them up on a well-lit wall. He just throws it down and takes the photo and shares it, because he knows what it looks like, so he's happy with that. And he just sort of fires it up, and everyone enjoys seeing them. But it must be someone like that just takes such a good care of their shirts that maybe something's happened and they have to part with them, because there's no way that people just keep stuff like you're talking about there.
Because that had like that felt as well, like, and there's been a few shirts like that where you stick them in the wash sometimes and it just like fades and discolors, and that was literally like flawless. Like nothing wrong with it, no marks, no fading at all.
The Lacoste Petit, wasn't it? Or am I right in saying
yeah.
Cool. Beautiful.
Cool. So we go back to the question, Tom. We'll come to you. If your house was on fire, one shirt you can save. Let us know.
Probably just because I think I'd be able to pick up another one. I think I'd have to get Save the Mutiny, just because I'd definitely be able to find another Cup Winners' Cup United shirt.
Yeah.
And so it'd have to be the Mutiny long sleeve.
Cool. And finishing with you, Ryan, one shirt you can save?
Probably that Bangor one, to be fair, just because, as you mentioned there, Tom, you're not going to get it again. You know, it's not going to happen. So I actually had a guy contact me, gosh, it must be about 2 months ago or so now, and he was to bring stuff down. He'd had it all stored in his attic, but he got on a ladder to go up and get it, and the poor fellow fell. And he rang me then and was like, look, you know, I've hurt myself. And I was like, geez, mate, you know, I came and helped you. I didn't realize you were on your own type thing. You know, I thought I'd barge into your house to help you get shirts, but like, when I helped you, that, you know, I didn't realize it was something like that, because you don't want to ever hear that happening. But
no,
I'm doing for a couple of weeks, and he was bedbound for those few weeks, and I haven't heard from him. So I lost his number. So hope he's all right, you know, first and foremost. But like, other than someone like him coming with that sort of collection from them, because he has stuff, he was involved in the kit purchasing with the manufacturers and stuff, so he's going to have stuff that no one else is going to, I suppose. Other than someone like him popping up, it's never going to be found again. So
no,
yeah, it would be that shirt.
No, cool. All right, so yeah, Cornish, for now that's it for in terms of the collector side. So we'll move on to the seller side. I know you do sell shirts as well, so I'll throw some questions to you so you can give us some answers in terms of that. So yeah, Tom, we'll kick off with you. You kind of said before what the kind of spark was to make you want to sell football shirts. So if you can remember, what's the first shirt you ever sold? Can you remember?
So on my website, it was a Kashima Antlers 2011 home shirt. Okay. But then as like El Clásico Kits, I was on like a guy on Twitter, Kit Hunters. He had his own like selling site on for a bit, and I was on there as well, Clàsico KIts, and I sold this it was this Austrian template shirt to someone that's actually turned out to be a really good mate. We actually went Madrid with him for United, but yeah, it started off just by selling him this pretty rubbish template for like 10 quid or whatever it was.
Nice. Cornish, what about you? What's the first shirt you remember selling?
I actually had a couple of United shirts, to be fair, that I got from an old friend of mine. So it was a Scholes 94-96 shirt and a Ronaldo T90 with
nice.
original felting and felt patches on both shirts. So it had the 93-94 champions on it, on the Scholes, and then the felt Premiership patches, and they were both sort of mint condition shirts. So probably one of those, I think, off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's not a bad two shirts to start off with, mate. I'm telling you. Ryan, yeah, what? Obviously,
well, I had a look. I can't remember outside of my website, to be honest. You know, the very, very first one I saw, but I had a look there at the start just to see. And the first recorded sale that I ever had was a long sleeve Sampdoria 89-90 home shirt.
Oh, nice.
So,
nice.
which is sold for like 30 quid. I probably didn't really realize what I had, to be fair, you know. But yeah, it went for. I don't even know how I got it, to be perfectly honest. I must have found it off eBay or a charity shop or something, you know. But yeah, just looked, and that was the first registered sale ever on the website, like so.
Oh, nice.
It looked in mint. I checked the photo. It looked in pretty good condition too, to be fair, with the collar and all. So yeah, it was the first one, like.
Wow, nice. Tom, back to you then. So, the shirt you regret selling the most. What one do you like? Why did I do that? When you look back,
there's probably a couple. I think at the time it wasn't really like part of my collection. Like it wouldn't really match with anything. But the USA 1994 away shirt, like the denim one.
The denim one, yeah.
Yeah, that I do wish I had one of those now, because obviously my collection's ended up pretty
going that way,
MLS centric. So I just think it'd match quite well, and I do really like that shirt as well. But other than that, it's got to be, for some reason, I sold the United 92-94 home, and it was like, it fit me, but it wasn't like the type. I tend to like wear a baggier fit, and I usually wear an XL, but it was a large, so I got rid of it. But I really don't know why, because I've not managed to pick one up for like a decent price since then. So I wish I'd kept hold of that, to be honest. I do regret. I think that's probably the one I do regret selling the most, because that was actually part of my personal collection as well, rather than buying it in to sell.
Bloody hell. Yeah. Cornish, same question to you. Yeah, shirt you regret selling.
To be fair, probably I've had a couple that I've regretted selling, and I've recently sort of repurchased, and that's sort of the Roma 1991 and the Soviet Union 89-91 salami-like shirt. But really, I had a just before Christmas, I think it's actually from you, Ryan. I had a Chelsea 94-96 away with Huller on the back, and a match-worn Totti from his Primavera days.
Nice.
So probably one of those two, to be honest. I've not seen another one since. But I know exactly where both are, which is a shame, and I know I'm never ever going to get them back.
Ryan, as well, same question to you.
Well, I've mentioned it a few times, that 88 West Germany one, because the collector, he's on Insta. I think he's on Twitter actually as well. It's a shirt house. You know, the dude that has all the Adidas 88 shirts. I'm terrible with like names.
Brick Kit House, is it?
Yeah, that's him. So really top guy. Like he's got a couple of bits like that off me, but he made a pretty exceptional offer. It was I couldn't say. I'd never been offered that for a shirt, firstly. So it was like, holy crap, you know. And then it was one I had to consult with my wife. I was like, listen, look at this, like, you know, this is serious. And she was like, why are you asking me? Like, this is a very straightforward thing. You just say yes. And I was like, yeah, no. It's, you know, there's a collector in you, and then there's common sense, you know. And it wasn't that the guy was being overly mental or whatever. It wasn't. It was probably what it was valued at, you know. but it was just something I was surprised they actually come to fruition. So, and he was, you know, absolute gent and sorted it and super quick and got it over to him. And probably about 6 months later, because there was a couple of months later, there was a guy, another fella on Instagram. He has all 80s like Italian team stuff.
Yeah.
Voller, when he wore that shirt twice, he wore it against Argentina, which is the one I had in Munich, even though they wore the away shirt weirdly. And then they played against someone else, and the gentleman that has the other one, so we got talking about it. So when I seen that, I had it at the time, but then he reposted it and seen it again, and was like, oh damn, you know, I really do miss that shirt. But at the same time, like it was a serious one, you know, that you just couldn't say no to, basically. But yeah, excuse me, I think because I know there is only 2 in the world, so
yeah,
I really do miss it. But you just have to, you know, take your person out of it and have the common sense to be like, I can't say no to this, you know.
No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This next question, I was going to say top 3, but sorry. What I'll ask you, Tom, is the any shirts you get hounded for it? You know, you get asked for a lot. People what really want.
There's nothing really particular that I get asked for a lot, because it tends to be quite varied. I think I'd probably Milan shirts, Dortmund shirts, Barca shirts. They're probably more than most, but I can't think of any like specific shirts, especially off the top of my head, that I've really been asked for a lot. I think it just tends to be like sometimes you get some really random requests sometimes, like shirts from teams that I've never even heard of, or like a lot of times when I post on like Facebook selling stuff, I'll get a message like, have you got this like Tunisian 3rd division club shirt? And I'm like, no, sorry. Like,
no, and there's quite shocked that you don't have it, you know.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough, mate. Cornish, what about you? Do you ever get asked for sort of weird or a lot of the same items or stuff you don't really know?
I must get 15 messages every couple of weeks about the match-worn Chelsea shirt, please.
Right.
You know, the same way that I'm sure, you know, Mick Clifford and, you know, the West Ham guy and Mark the City guy and, you know, quite a few others get the same messages. But not these days as such. I wouldn't say in the last sort of 3-4 months, because I've been trying to really limit the amount of selling I've been doing.
Yeah.
And in that way, I've sort of strayed away, which has been nice. But yeah, every time a match one is posted, it's like, can you get me one? No, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah. I've been thinking about it. I've actually been asked quite a few times for. I've got one LA Galaxy shirt, a match worn. I think it's Paul Caligari. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it's a match worn shirt from him, and he was like the guy that sent. I think he sent America to the World Cup or something like that. He like the goal that, like the most important goal in American football history or something like that. And I've had quite a few messages from like Galaxy fans asking for that, but it's one that I'd never sell.
Yeah,
because I'd never find another one.
No, definitely not. And Ryan, last with you. I'm sure you get a lot of requests.
I do get a lot of requests. I got one just before the other day. Actually, I'd never seen this shirt before. It was a Birmingham 98-99 black and white away, which I'd never even seen before. It's, you know, at all. So I mean, if I find a guy one, I'd love to find a guy one, you know. But that's like how varied. But as far as the repetitive requests, certainly Irish League stuff, which when I started as a business as such, were relatively easy to pick up. You know, Cliftonville and stuff especially. Who are, in theory, the smaller club out of the, say, Cliftonville, Glentoran and Linfield, because they're still technically part-time, although they're not really, but they are sort of part-time. And a lot of everyone do not part with the stuff, but then they did. Like a guy came to me once and gave me, like, I don't know if you've ever had something, I guess, Tom or Curtis, you know, they're sort of like clearing out and they know you and they've maybe done a bit of business with you or something. I just came as bin bag, and this thing was, you know, proper big. And I seen him walking in, and I was like, I'd never seen him face to face, only seen him online. But he was a big dude. Like, I was like, what is going on here? And I was in my wee small shop, just got beaten in. I was like, well, lad. And parts of Belfast, they don't have. There's no sort of talking at this level that we're talking now. It's plenty of bass and volume up to here. That's just how they are, just bubbling with energy, and that's how they are. And like, he just came in, and it was a wee small room, and he was like, well, lad, blah, 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 I've got all these for you. And he started looking at what he had, and he didn't explain what the bin bag was. And then he just ripped it open, and it was just filled with Cliftonville shirts. Oh, and I was like, right, I have to find a way to be able to afford these. But also, and then he was just like, no, just, here you go, you can take these. And I was like, what? Wow. There's no way. I was waiting for someone to like prank me or something. I was like, there's no way this is happening. And he grabbed me and gave me them, and I was like, look, I have to give you something. Like, I can't do that. It's not fair. There's no way. And I was like, this will cover, potentially like a couple of months' rent for the shop. It was a cheap shop, like, but even still, And he was like, oh well, and I gave him actually a couple of football tops because they were his size. And I was like, please let me give you something else. He was like, no, don't worry about it. And off he went. I've never seen him again. Never heard from him again. Wow. It was mad. So, but since something like that, in those sort of first 9 to 12 months, you could pick up Irish League stuff okay. Yeah. You had people coming and sort of giving you a few bits or swapping or whatever. Now it's super hard to get the stuff. And it's not that I'm solely responsible for that, but I think because my shop got a bit of coverage in local media and stuff, people sort of went, oh, I have those. They're in the loft or they're in the wardrobe, or if people wearing them, I'm going to start wearing them, or maybe selling them for what they're worth. So it kind of dried up quite quickly, but probably every other day, the top 3 fans are saying, any chance of, such and such. You do get someone like messaging going like, can I have a 1972 ballerina? And like, I didn't even know they existed then. They're just trying to help their grand out for his 80th or something. It's like with the best intentions, and you have to be like, look, it's impossible. The club doesn't have them. Like, that's just not going to happen. But they don't realize the rarity of it. They just assume that they're readily available.
Yeah, definitely. Tom, we'll go back to you then. So the most favorite item you've ever sold, something you thought this, you're happy to get rid of, but you thought, this is a banger.
I couldn't say one. I wrote down 5. So the PSG 82 to 85 shirt, that one we were talking about before, that was just like insanely special. And to get that in it was an XL as well, which those French shirts you just never find in big sizes. They're always tiny. So to get one like that was really special. Another one that was a brand new with tags, Fiorentina 97-98 long sleeve. Again, just to find that with tags was just insane. Club America 84-85, that was another one, which was just like, I'll never get my hands on another one of those. Incredibly rare, like the most famous Club America shirt there is. And Estudiantes 92 away. Cornish, I think you might have actually bought that one off me.
Yeah. I did have that one. That's gone to a really lovely Australian Estudiantes collector. He has everything. It's just an amazing guy. So from you to me to then someone who absolutely adores it was just a brilliant story, really.
Yeah, well, it was insane, that shirt as well. Like it was a lovely shirt to look at, really nice. And I posted it on Twitter, and I was expecting quite a few people to like it or whatever and show some interest. And it ended up getting 800 likes on the post, and every Estudiantes fan coming at me going, "Oh, how much is this going to be? What size is it?" And I was just like, "What on earth?
What's this happened?"
How much do I price this at now? I can never find another one of these before, and I've got 800 people asking me for it. And then another one that I kind of regret selling a bit is the Milan 94 Super Cup shirt, the yellow one. And it was long sleeve as well, and I think they only ever released it in the player spec version, with the jacquard material, and it was just such, again, like I said before about Serie A shirts, it's just such a simple design, but so classy,
Yeah.
just properly smart. I think that's probably up there with the best, definitely.
Cool. Yeah, Cornish, you your favorite item you've managed to sell?
Probably either that, as discussed, Estudiantes, or the Holland 88 that I had. I had a really gorgeous Holland 88.
Not the away one.
We're not talking about that. We are not talking about that. I actually want to. I'm forgetting
That's
that
what
episode
asking
of
me
my
about
life.
that
Didn't
Yugoslavia
happen.
shirt this week. We'll just not. Just not
Yes.
go there.
Exactly. I refuse to discuss any such thing regarding to a Holland 88 away shirt. But yeah, that home shirt, it had sort of special double printing on it. So when it was made, the printing of the fabric was just doubled.
Wow.
It's actually gone to a really lovely Indonesian collector who has zero. I don't understand, but he has zero interest in the kit community, has zero interest in social media, apart from his Insta. And my God, he has the most. I would say he probably has the best collection of shirts I've ever seen. As an AC Milan fan as well, he has match worn anything and everything you want. He collects anything and every shirt ever. And he must spend an awful lot of money. Awful lot of money.
That's not the guy. Oh damn! I'm trying to remember his
He's
name.
like a property developer, from what I can understand from his Instagram, but I don't really read it.
Is he the guy that he has Palm as well as friend? I don't know if it's his partner or.
Don't know.
You know,
I think his name is like Irvin or something.
Yeah, I think I know who you mean. Hang on, let's see
He
here.
buys so much and so often, but he Brick Kit House introduced me to him. And he has 9 different variations of the 88 template and all sorts of stuff. Like the guy's a nutter, but
Wow.
Probably that 88 euro shirt was just
yeah. And yeah, Ryan, your favorite item you've ever managed to sell?
Do you remember I'll actually just find a photo of it there, because he makes me laugh actually. The guy on Insta, football shirts my wife hates.
Oh, yeah.
He always takes cracking photos, like, and he's the guy's a really nice guy. Like, we spoke to him a couple of times, but he bought it. So, but I don't know if they ever actually wore it. Do you remember I'll show you. Do you remember that? Oh crap, it's not coming up. The Baka. Do you see it there? The Baka.
Oh yeah, the Fiat one.
Oh yeah.
The
yeah, it's such a cool design too. I know there was relatively close versions of it with USSR and stuff, but that one, just for me, they just nailed the design of it. I think when I bought it, I was offered it, and I pulled the car over. It was like, trying to get myself together to get it, and it sat in my shop for a good while, but I must have had my eyes on something else. So I was like, right, sell this and I didn't know what the price of that. You mentioned, Tom, about the shirt before, and so many people messaging about it. I was like, I don't know what the price is at, so I just put it on eBay. I just said, listen, look, I'm going to put it up. Whenever it goes for, it goes for. And I actually can't remember what it went for, but I think it was a reasonable amount. Like, and it went, and obviously got it, and it was cool because it fit him too. Because he's obviously a lot better at eating healthier food than myself, so it fitted him, and he took some really, really cool photos with it. So, that's probably the one that, like, I loved it, but I'm glad it went to somewhere who could really appreciate it and obviously wear it and enjoy it. So
yeah. Cool. So moving on. The hardest shirt you've had to part with, Tom?
I think probably an Ajax 89-90 away. It's one that I've always wanted, but I've had 2 in now, both in large. And when I've tried them on, when you button up the collar, it's just like really tight, like uncomfortably tight. I'd love to get one in an XL just to see if it'd fit right, and I'd have loved to have kept one, but if I'm not comfortable in it, I'm not going to wear it. So I've had to give both of them up, sadly.
Yeah, is that the red, white, and blue one with the?
Yeah.
You was on the full kit rankings Ajax, weren't you?
No, I wasn't.
I was myself with Spitzman as well.
When everyone started to say they didn't like it, and everyone was like, "Oh no, actually, when I look at it now," and it's like 2 kits merged into one and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love that shirt. I absolutely love that shirt. I think it's an absolute classic. Cornish, yourself, the hardest shirt you've ever had to part with?
Got to be that match one Havertz. It was from the Norwich game, but yeah, that was tricky. I mean, I got Lampard and Czech in return, which was really good value, but you know, it was still, you know, that was my first match one shirt. I knew the game, I knew the provenance. It was just, you know, something that I will probably not see again for a couple of years.
Yeah.
In terms of big time players. So
yeah, cool. And Ryan, you, the hardest shirt you've ever had to part with?
Apart from that 88 one that we mentioned, but I've harped on enough about that. Probably the Inter Milan 0406, the match worn Figo, the European shirt that I had, because it fitted, you know, and I wore it when I opened the shop, the new shop I had. I'm about to say the third shop.
Yeah.
When I opened it, because I wore it that day. I mean, it was just about fitting me. You know, I didn't eat my lunch just to make sure that it was fitting me for the second half of the day. But it was pretty awesome. But it's a gentleman in Saudi who's a big Inter collector. I think he plays FIFA and YouTube and stuff. You know, so he's quite a big deal in that side of the world. He messaged him, was like, when it's time, when you are going to part of that, like, that's mine. That's just it. It's happening. You know, I don't care. It's happening. And because he's been such a good customer as well, I mean, he's a gentleman, to be fair. I was like, okay, no worries, boss. So I let him know. And but there was a lot of other people putting up, so it was like, look, I have to kind of put it up there. I don't want to pick one over the other, sort of thing. I don't want to, you know, just put it up. But like, he was on it, like, and checked out 10 seconds or something stupid, you know. So it was sad to part with that, but at the same time, I'm glad again it's going to somewhere where they're going to really appreciate it, you know. But it's a pretty awesome shirt. Like,
it's what it's all about, and making sure to go to a good home, 100%. If quickly then, obviously I was going to say top 3, but if you pick your top 1, Tom, but if you've got the 3 you want to say, that's fine. So yeah, 3 shirts or a shirt that you'd really like to get hold of to sell, not necessarily keep, but to sell.
So I got 3. So I got the Dortmund 89, the cup final shirt. I just think that's insane. It's such a nice design. I've got the Hamburg shirt that's got like the same template. I love that one. I'd love to get hold of a couple. Ideally I'd love to keep them, but United, like the match long sleeve shirts. There's been a couple like Lodevold shirt, I think he's called on Twitter. He's just got one in the reserve match worn one. The 93, 94, the black one in long sleeve, and it's just insane. I'd love to just like get my hands on one of them just for a little bit. I'd never be able to justify keeping them because they sell for like $2,000 plus. And then also I'd love to get in a Soviet Union 88 home shirt. You know, the one that's the same design as the Netherlands 88 shirt. I think that's my favorite version of that. I think that's probably my favorite version of that template, to be honest.
Nice, yeah. Cornish, I'll just hammer you down for one shirt if you can pick one. A shirt you'd love to get hold of to sell.
Oh God, I would like probably like a Chelsea European final one to sell on to. You know, if I was going to do something like that, though, I wouldn't sell it to like another big collector. I'd sell it to, you know, someone who couldn't necessarily afford it normally. So I'd take the hit on that type of thing.
Yeah. Any particular player you'd like on the back of it?
Right, sorry.
I don't know anyone, to be honest. Anyone from sort of the 11-12 or 12-13. I mean, even the 18-19 season as well. So, you know, maybe like a Hazard. That would be nice. 18-19 Hazard's sort of swan song final shirt would be quite nice to give to someone who would really appreciate it more than most.
Yeah, no, that's very admirable of you, mate. I like that. That's very nice. Ryan, coming to you then. So a shirt or top 3 or any shirt you'd love to get your hands on to sell.
One of them actually, just for we mentioned there about some of the these PSG shirts, just the to have, because I'll never fit in one. So it'd be kind of cool to have it, just to really appreciate, for what it is. And as you mentioned, Tom, just the material and stuff, just to really appreciate the shirt, because I've never seen one in person. Just went to CFS and stuff and hoped they maybe had one there or whatever, but it's never really seems to be the case at the shop that they would have something like that, which is fair enough. And then probably the only other one would be, do you remember the whole big thing about the Mario Florentina shirts?
Oh yeah.
The whole chaotic thing or whatever with it. But I think it was Doug had done a bit of digging with the research, and he found that video, didn't he? And they wore the blue training one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it'd be kind of cool to get one of them. If it's my size, like, it's kept, 100%. But if it's not, it'd just be cool to actually see it, because just the whole big history to it of the shirt anyway. But then it's just a recent sort of thing, and like Alice getting it, and then the thing with KIts, and I think they came from the best place possible and thought it was 100%, but I've realised it's not, and I know how that goes with being a seller. That can happen, so you can be caught out, so I appreciate that totally. It's I probably didn't quite appreciate it then as much, being a part-time seller, really, with the shop and stuff. And then obviously years have went by, and I've really learned how it can happen, and I learned how the people can be 100% with it, or people can be not so 100% about it. So, I appreciate where they're coming from, So, but just the trading up, because I know it's 100% legit. It would be kind of cool to sell that and kind of see all the reaction to it and stuff, and straight on to, like, I would probably go on to Dougie's Insta and be like, right, I'm gonna find this link first before I share this shirt. People go, it's fake, and I'm like, no, the man who knows, and here's the evidence. If anybody knows, it's him. So and he's got the video to back it up. So this is why I'm putting it out there, type thing. So which I'll probably do now for any shirt I'm in doubt of. If I can't find anything, it's just not being sold.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times. Just get like a bit of information, just add a link to it saying this is where I've got this information from.
Definitely.
It isn't. I've not just made it up.
Yeah, I know. Or manufactured it or some nonsense. You know what I mean? So
that's it.
It would just be cool to have that one. Like.
Yeah, cool. Tom, okay, so is there a shirt you've had that you wasn't expecting much from, but then people gone crazy? I'm guessing maybe like Independientes one you said.
Yeah, so that Estudiantes one was one that was like mental how much interest there was in, but like shirts that I got in that I wasn't really that bothered about, didn't really stand out. And then there's actually two that I ended up keeping. So one of them was this, I'll show it here, this Hamburg 91 home. The badge was actually, so at first I thought this was a template with the badge added, because the actual badge is obviously, it's a rectangle. But then I spoke to a Hamburg collector, and he said that it is legit. Like, it's just like the original badge is like fallen off and it's just been replaced. So I was wearing like a 20 quid template. Well, what I thought was like a 20 quid template around, like doing odd jobs around the house. And then all of a sudden I find out this is incredibly rare Hamburg shirt.
Wow.
Swiftly taken off.
Yeah. And then another one that, it was always one that's like probably one of the most iconic Fiorentina shirts. And I got it in to sell, and then it came, and there's no way I could let it go. And it's this one.
Oh, nice one.
It's got a sublimated Rui Costa name set on the back. And I think the shirt on its own is stunning, but that sublimated name set is just...
It's 1978, I think, isn't it?
It's just... I think they only made a few of them, because I know there is one other guy that I know that's got one. And I think they made a few of them for like fans that just with Rui Costa's name on the back that was sublimated. And it's just so nice. The jacquard throughout the material is it's stunning. It's just a stunning shirt. And I was never really bothered about it until I actually got my hands on it. I never really understood the hype until I actually had it in hand. And you could see that, like, those little details you don't notice on people's pictures a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't know. See, one of that with Baristero on the back, actually. but I can't remember if it was subliminally or not. It might not have been. Come to think of it, I got it from what do you call it, dude? Remember the guy? Was it Umar or something on Twitter?
Oh yeah.
He used to have all the long sleeve stuff, but I think he might have been adding names or whatever shirt. Some people said that, some people don't. I mean, I don't live with the guy, so I don't know. You know, I don't know if he did or didn't. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be fair. I got it off him and wore it for a while. It was pretty cool, and then eventually it sold. But the detail on that shirt's unbelievable. Just like when the certain light hits it and stuff, like it just there's wee tiny wee subtle things to it that are just stunning.
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful shirt, absolutely beautiful. Cornish, same question to you then. Is anything you got in you wasn't expecting much from, but then ended up loving it, or it was just absolutely really popular?
The Estudiantes. I did a comparison between the Estudiantes and the Soviet Union '91 away shirt that just blew up. The Estudiantes crew got onto it, and it was sort of my notifications ended up being like 4,000 notifications in like 25, 26 hours. Like it was just ridiculous. And then at Christmas or just before Christmas, I had the match on Totti. I had messages about that for days on end. It sold within sort of an hour, and the kit community on that day in particular was so kind and so helpful. But that one sold within an hour, and it was just
I don't know
one of those two.
I don't know if you've seen with that Estudiantes as well. They've actually released a third shirt that they've worn, which is like inspired by that shirt.
Yeah,
and
I
the
saw
guy.
that.
So someone made a comment saying that an account, like a concept designer on Twitter that was a fan, he was the one that had designed it for them. And then I looked back at my post, and when I originally posted, he like quote tweeted it saying something. So it seems like probably all the stuff of you posting it and me posting it has then eventually led to this shirt.
God, can you imagine
being remade? It's
definitely possible. I mean, you're talking about the traction that it got. I mean, that's from your channels that are not the Estudiante channels as such. They're not accounts that you would normally associate with that.
Yeah,
they still got huge traction. So if they shared it, or even more mental. So here it's entirely possible. Like.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely a possibility. Mate, get onto him. He owes you a bit of dollar, mate, I think. He definitely owes you something. At least a shirt, something like that, 100%. Ryan, we'll come with you with this question then. So anything you've got in you wasn't expecting much from, and it's kind of
just what you were saying there. I mean, I've had shirts where they've had big reactions and stuff, and I don't really think too much. But see that Wimbledon shirt I got in recently, the 88, 89 Cup winners.
Yeah.
I misjudged that. Me and Tom, we work with someone we both kind of know. So I don't know if you've seen that at that time, but I was like,
I was going to buy it. And then it marked as sold, and I was like, I can't believe I missed it because I thought about it.
But I was talking to him, you see, at the time. I was organising something when I was coming over, and he put it in, but he sent it me as well, and I was like, yes, done, 100%. So I got it in, and then when I was over there, I forgot all about it, and it was actually so I sorted my stock at the start of the week. I'd seen them sort of stock at the start of the week, and then had my holiday with my wife and had a great time in Sorrento and stuff. I was sitting for a few days and was like, you know what, I'm here. This would be crazy for me to not go and get more stuff. Like, why not? So I was going to see them on the last day anyway. So it was like, can I go back to where you just keep the stuff? And they were like, yeah, no worries. And then we were leaving, and we were like, oh, I forgot to grab that for you. I was like, oh, brilliant, throw it in the box. So that's why I was at the top of the box when I opened it, and put the photo out. And it went nuts. It went absolutely crazy. But it actually went to the point, this is just what you mentioned about Estudiantes and them reproducing the shirt and stuff. Because you've seen Phil Delves tweeting about that probably being redone. Fair enough, it's with a Samsung sponsor, but still. The vice president from AFC Wimbledon, I sold that shirt at like 5:30. And there was a guy on to get it, and he's a lifelong Wimbledon fan. I think his son is maybe playing with a youth setup with the club or something. I could be wrong with that, but I think that's what he's got going on. And he knows the vice president guy. He messaged me because someone told him that I was selling fakes of that shirt, plural, like all different sizes. He obviously didn't do his research and couldn't comprehend that someone had got one of them shirts. So he messaged me and he sent this big threatening email, like, this is, the legal teams are coming for you and all. And I was looking, I was like, this guy, someone's told him like something crazy, So I messaged him, I was like, yo, I looked at the message on Facebook and I was like, what are you talking about, man? And I sent him like a dozen photos of the shirt. I was like, look, it's from then.
Yeah.
Then he was like, oh, I have totally messed up here. I've got this completely wrong.
Jesus.
Someone told me, a season ticket holder told me that you were selling blah, blah, blah. It was this, that, and the other. And I was like, no, you crazy maniac. All you had to do was Google my business name and look and go, oh, it's one shirt and blah, blah, blah. So he's full of apologies or whatever, and he was like, and he's like long grey hair. He looks like he should be in, what's that band that plays all the Christmas music? Slade or something? He looks like, you know what I mean? He doesn't look like someone that you would go, that guy's got his shit together, you know what I mean? He doesn't look that way at all. So, but he's been given something wrong and he's reacted to it. It's not his fault. He's just been told something and misjudged it completely.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny the next day because when that came out about Hummel and them doing the partnership, I was laughing with the fella that bought the shirt. We were back and forth chatting or whatever because I posted him, and he was laughing. He was like, "Those guys, like, I'm really glad that mine's come with it's the original with a Carlsberg sponsor or whatever." So we're joking about it. I messaged your man to say, "Oh, you were, panicking yesterday about remakes when Hummel were doing official reissues about the shirt. What's the crack?" He didn't know about it, so he was like, "Oh." What? They shouldn't be doing that. I'm coming for them. Man. I'm pretty confident that Hummel, being a company of that size, know what they're allowed to do legally. Like, I don't know them, but they don't look like jokers. They look like a pretty serious operation. Are you sure? Before you send them an email like you sent me, maybe
have a think.
And then like an hour later, he came back and he was like, "Oh, our marketing team has set this up. I'm completely wrong." I was like, "You need to stop going down the crazy route and just and calm down, man. You're gonna do yourself a disservice. You're gonna give yourself heart failure. Like, you know what I mean? Just take it easy."
He's keeping the name Crazy Gang going on, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still all aboard the Crazy Gang bus. You know what I mean? That guy's. But I think he's just a quick fire reaction dude. So he's probably exceptional at what he does otherwise, but he's just hits the panic button and then has to come back and go, "Oh, I totally screwed up." I was like, "Look, that's twice in less than 24 hours. You just went completely off the handle. Just calm down, man." And he was like, "Yeah, I'm shit." And I was like, "Yeah, definitely. Like, just take it easy." So, but that shirt, that was all the whole reactions to that, and then just in general, the reactions of people trying to buy the shirt.
Yeah,
totally off guard. So, look, Tom, you dodged the bullet. You know what I mean? But it was good because I knew, like, I actually talked to Alan about it, and I was like, I am 100% sure that this is completely legit. But you're gonna know better than me, so I'll send you all detailed photos and stuff. And he was like, "Yeah," before I put it on sale with me, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's 100% correct. Like, don't be worrying. I'm gonna buy it." And I was like, "Okay, no bother." So. It was grand, but it was crazy. It was just a mad reaction to just a shirt. It was that I didn't even think was going to probably sell super fast.
Wow. Yeah. Well, like you said, Tom, you definitely dodged a bullet there. We'll wrap it up here. That's a great way to finish it off. Great story.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going off on tangents.
No, it's a great story to have. So yeah, guys, thank you for joining us, Tom. I hope you've enjoyed it, mate. I hope you've had fun. Where can people find you? Give us the socials, give us the ats and everything like that.
So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Clàsico KIts. And then obviously you can find my website through there, or if you just search Clàsico KIts on Google, it should come up as the top search above Barcelona and Real, obviously. And so give us a follow. I tend to update my Twitter most regularly with updates or anything. And if you need any info about anything that's on the site, or you're after anything in particular, unless it's a Tunisian 3rd division club, then feel free to send me a message and I'll try and find it for you. I'll let you know if I've got anything coming in.
Brilliant stuff, mate. Again, thanks for joining us this evening.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Sure. Cornish, let us know where people can find you and where you live and stuff.
I tend to have, and I'm quite active on Twitter, which should be at CornishShirt, or if you just type CornishShirtCollector into Twitter, it should come up. I do have an Instagram, but I tried to start it, but I can't be bothered. So I update it semi-regularly. But yeah, mostly on Twitter. I'm pretty open about, what's a good price for a shirt, whether I know someone who's got something, sort of legitimizing Chelsea shirts or Barca shirts in particular. I've got, plenty of product codes from a Messi collection and sort of those Chelsea shirts. So yeah, I mean, I'm usually mostly focused on Twitter if that's where you want to find me and contact me. Usually through the DMs, I'm pretty active, so that's really the main place for me.
Cool, and same to you, mate. Thank you very much for spending your evening with us and letting us get to know you a little bit better.
No, it's a pleasure. I really enjoy these types of things, and it's not often you sort of get the chance to get involved. So when Ryan messaged, it was one of those that I had to jump at. So thanks,
Brilliant.
Guys. Appreciate it.
Anytime, mate. And Ryan, thanks again, mate. I think it's been a great show to kick off this series.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Some great conversation.
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you both for coming on. It's appreciate your time first and foremost. Appreciate you telling us obviously your stories and stuff about the shirts. So I'm sure it will be the last time, all being well, you'll be on. Maybe do a check-in later in the year or whatever. And see how everything's going for you. So
definitely.
Yeah,
we got plenty of other shows on Talking Kit. If you want to be a full kit ranker, you're always welcome to come and rank with us. Ryan, just so if people want to know, find you, where can they?
Just if you just search the shop name, to be fair, and Classic Shirt Co, that'll come up on Twitter, Insta, Facebook, TikTok to a point, but it's a bit like Cornish saying about Insta. It's a foreign word to me. I don't really grasp it, And if I hear show me the life hack thing one more time, that audio and those videos, it's driving me crazy.
I don't know about you, but I desperately want to see you doing dance challenges in the shop, mate. I'm not gonna lie.
There's a reason why the camera stops where it does. This is not a dancing body.
I can imagine some of them transitions would be unreal in those shirts, mate. But yeah, mate. We'll see you next month for another edition of this show, most definitely. So thanks for joining us, everyone. Like I say, we'll be back on Wednesday. We've got another full kit rankers. We are planning to do a main pod as well. We keep meaning to try and get together. It doesn't happen. We've also got another little video coming a week tomorrow, something a little bit different from us. Little hint, we opened some mystery shirt boxes. Let's see which shirts we all got. But if it is your first time talking kit, do make sure that you hit the like button. Do subscribe to the channel. It would be great for you to support us. And as always, do make sure that you keep talking kit. And we'll see you soon.